Interpretation to help you with your profession and your personal lives.
Wow, that got real dramatic. As Ron Burgundy would say, that escalated quickly.
That's the best meme ever. Welcome to our second official episode of S&P on our amazing YouTube channel, which you will want to subscribe to. We give you updates every couple of weeks on what's happening in the interpretive world and bring you some fun stuff, actually, because we're fun, Paul.
Song, who are you?
That is a loaded question, Paul. I am NAI's conference and engagement manager. Whoop, whoop. And Paul, you are?
I'm Paul Caputo, NAI Deputy Director, as seen on MILB.com. That's minorleaguebaseball.com. They featured my Helmet Sunday collection on Minor League Baseball's website. So
yep, that was a great article.
I'm going to say as seen on MILB.com on my business cards now.
I love it. Well, this week's episode of S&P, wow, there was a lot going on this week. We had our inauguration on Wednesday, which I thought was very inspirational. I loved all of the discussion, obviously, on unity and coming together. And fun pop culture fact, Paul. Every major player there, all of their outfits, right, usually by high-end designers of such and such, they were all American designers. And if you noticed, Kamala Harris, her purple coat, that was very much by design, blending red and blue together. Oh. And also her suit, a girlfriend of mine is a costume designer, and she pointed this out, that Kamala's suit buttoned on the side of a man's. And that was also on purpose. This designer, this American designer, focuses on gender neutral attire.
So socio-political statements and color theory, both mixed into one, I want to say outfit. Is outfit the word? Can I say that?
Yeah.
Outfit. Okay, good. I'll tell you, I took away from the inauguration. It was, obviously an amazing celebration. I really enjoyed it very much. I'm a huge fan of Amanda Gorman, the 22-year-old poet laureate who did an amazing job with her poem, both the words and the delivery, and then also all of the Bernie Sanders memes of Bernie sitting there in his presumably American-designed coat and mittens, and it looked like he was, on his way to the post office. This was he stopped in to pick up some mail and went to Joe's thing, and then had to go to the post office afterwards. So all of the Bernie Sanders memes after the fact were very funny.
Yeah, a little entertainment there.
Yes.
So in the world of interpretation, here at NAI, we are madly finishing up some final touches for our international forum, which is February 9th, 10th, and 11th. There is definitely still time to register, so register here. And come
working
join
with our friends from Interpretation Canada and the Interpretive Guides Association and Interpat MX down in Mexico.
I think it's really great that we are offering Spanish and French and English languages. So you just log into the Zoom and select your language, and everything's being translated, which is super cool. And I'm really looking forward to Ted Cable's keynote and also our kind of afternoon networking breaks.
And just some really amazing presentations, just running the gamut of disciplines within interpretation.
Yep, everything from archaeology. Yeah, archaeology to baseball.
There's some baseball. Yes.
There's some baseball.
And I got to interview Ray Lee Frazier of the National Ballpark Museum, so that's one of our little afternoon breaks. That'll be fun. So yeah, everyone should register. It's very affordable, and it's going to be an amazing 3 days, just highlighting some high-end conversations about interpretation for sure.
Yep, I'm very excited. So we've got that. Regional workshops are gearing up. Registrations are becoming available for those. So check out the calendar. I think we have things listed there.
The regional workshops are all listed on our website. If you go to the website, it's under conferences, and then there's a link there for region and section workshops or region and section conferences. And we have, I think, 7 listed right now between February and May. So,
May. Yeah.
and the board of directors is going to make itself available at as many of these as possible. So if you're attending a regional workshop, there will be a question and answer session where you can go talk to the NAI's National Board of Directors as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then as always, in our programming, we've got some upcoming webinars in the next couple weeks that you might want to check out as well.
So we have 2 in February. On February 2, Mary McCormick and Jennifer Anderson and Bevan Carruthers are presenting Emerging Methods for the Modern Interpreter. That's February 2 at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern. And then we also have Training Tips and Tricks from Katie Rainey on February 16, also at 10 Pacific, 1 Eastern. So those are both available at on the website under the Certification and Training tab. There's webinars, and I'm pretty sure this link right here, interpnet.com/webinars, will take you straight there.
Awesome. Well, coming back to the inauguration again, I just thought it was a really well done event, really great messages. And, you know, Biden's on the campaign trail, his slogan was Build Back Better. And I feel, especially this year, right, there's a lot of organizations who are doing things to build back better, to come through 2020, looking forward into 2021. And sometimes the silver linings of COVID, right? Not having the general public in your site. Some sites have been able to do some construction or some revamping or add new exhibits. So I think we have a couple of spotlights here, Paul, who with interpreters and organizations that are doing things to build back better.
We're going to start with NAI's Legacy Magazine cover model, Gary Bremen. Gary and his husband, Roger, are on paddle boards on the Interpreting Love issue, which will be landing in mailboxes at the end of January, beginning of February, just in time for Valentine's Day. Gary Bremen, a 34-year veteran of the National Park Service, and he is currently, I believe, at Biscayne National Park, and he's going to talk about how they are working during COVID-19 to build back better. So Gary, thanks for being here.
So I think here at Biscayne National Park, one of the things that will be better for us in the future as a result of being basically not serving the public the way we used to for almost a year now, is what a lot of people are calling the COVID gifts, the things that you've had time to do that you never had time to do before. And a few of those for me, one of them is research time. Over the past bunch of months when we didn't have visitors here or I was working from home, I had an opportunity to research so many topics about the place that I have worked for 25 years that I never really had the opportunity to do. And a lot of that included looking at non-dominant narratives of the site. Biscayne National Park is in South Florida. It was a playground for the rich and famous back in the 20s and 30s. And a lot of our stories relate to those stories of rich white guys spending time in boats, going fishing, that kind of stuff. But there are a lot of other stories out there that are smaller and just haven't been emphasized a whole lot. So we've been able to research some of that. We had an African-American family who owned land here in the park. They actually were the largest landowners in what is today Biscayne National Park. Israel Lafayette Jones moved his tiny family to an island. They began farming pineapples, eventually farmed key limes. They became fishing guides. And one of those guys lived in what is now the park for near 100 years. And I knew him when I first started working at Biscayne National Park. And to me, he was always, that old guy that lives in the inn holding in the park. And the fact that I knew him at the time, I really, bad on me, I really didn't pay attention as much to him as I should have. And now I kick myself for not learning the story more fully. And it's one that we have told a lot, but people became very much more interested in, given the impact of everything that happened earlier in the year. And so, we tell his story a little bit. Somebody else says, "Oh, tell me more about that story." And soon we find ourselves in a partnership with other organizations like the Black Archives in Miami. We're doing interviews. We find ourselves in association with other national parks, and all kinds of cool stuff comes out of that. And then because I met someone on one of those calls, she sends me a message and says, "Oh, I just found this article about a lynching that happened at Black Point." And Black Point is one of the entrance points for Biscayne National Park. And while this particular murder didn't happen in the park, it's just outside. And the national parks are really about telling all American stories. And so we have now started to partner with Dade County, where we are here, Dade County TIER, the Truth, Education, and Reconciliation Organization, which is working to bring the monument for lynching victims from Montgomery, Alabama to South Florida. And we're working, even though those things happened outside the park, they were nearby, and we feel it's important to tell those stories. So we're going in those directions. We have stories of the Underground Railroad that came through Biscayne National Park. Most people think of the Underground Railroad as going north, but there were spurs coming south because freedom was just 90 miles away in the Bahamas. And so people were heading over in that direction. So we've been doing a lot of those stories as well. Another one of the big stories that we were able to do some research on involved being spurred on by the centennial of some women getting the right to vote in the United States with the 19th Amendment. And so we started doing research on some pioneers of Biscayne National Park, how women contributed to this, and that led to a program for Nerd Night Miami called Girls Gone Wild, which was women protecting South Florida's national parks. And that now has gone on to other venues as well. We've done it 3 times total now for audiences virtually. So those non-dominant narratives are the things that we've been researching a lot. Another aspect is kind of surrounding me here. We had an art gallery that I manage. We went for 9 months with the same show because people weren't coming into the visitor center. It was closed. But we just hung a new show, palette knife paintings paired with photographs of birds from South Florida. And normally we have a beautiful reception, sometimes a full moon reception overlooking Biscayne Bay on the front porch. They're lovely events that draw, about 100 people or so, and we haven't been able to do that. But this past Sunday we had a virtual event that I'm pretty proud of. It wasn't just a Zoom call. It was involving video and remote broadcasts and images, and it was a whole yards, a whole production that we were able to do in-house that, in my mind, looks pretty darn, there are glitches for sure, but it looked pretty darn professional, like a newscast, using a new platform, and that's something that we never would have thought of or done before. We've done other virtual programs as well. That art opening reached about 1,800 people as opposed to the 100 people that we would have seen here in person. We've done some online storytelling programs, 75-minute long programs with retention that was like through the roof for a video program. 2,500, 3,000 people watching those. So these are some of the things that I think will not go away because COVID is ending soon, please. these are things that we're going to be able to build on. And, you know, so we do have a reception where people are eating wine and cheese, looking at the moon for the next art exhibit. But we also have the StreamYard broadcast so that we can once again have folks from Brazil and Italy and Iowa and everywhere else participating. So I think that we're going to be able to build on a lot of this stuff, and certainly talking about the stories of people who have to this point been underrepresented is going to continue on our boat trips with our institute, concessions, and all those kinds of things into the future.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gary. That's super inspiring. I have gotten to know Gary, and you have also gotten to know Gary through NAI's Interp Talk sessions. Yep. And if you would like to participate in our Interp Talks, our weekly Interp Talks, we're still going super strong, having some amazing conversations, especially the last few weeks in light of recent events that have been going on in our country. And to get on the roster, it's super easy. Just go ahead and email me. Here's my email address. And I'll add you to the roster. I send out the invitation every Tuesday for the following Wednesday. And we have great conversations and we get to know each other. And it's been really inspiring for me. It's something that has come out of COVID that will continue long after COVID. So, Song, who else do we have bringing back better right now?
Well, we have one of my favorite persons. His name is Dr. James Danoff-Burg. He is the overall committee chair for the 2021 National Conference. And Dr. James is currently the Director of Conservation at the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens in Palm Desert. He's also an adjunct research scientist at the University of California, San Diego, and California State University, San Marcos. Overachiever.
You needed the teleprompter for that one. There was a lot going on.
I mean, that was like a really long title. Goodness, Dr. James. Anyway, I was recently in Palm Springs and had the opportunity to go hang out with him and check out the zoo. And they are doing some really spectacular construction. So, James, show us what you got.
Hey, thanks, Song. Hello, everyone. Like Song said, my name is James Danoff-Burg. I'm the Director of Conservation here at the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens in Palm Desert, California. And I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the construction opportunities and challenges that we faced as a consequence of COVID. There's, of course, many things that have affected us. We closed at the middle of March of 2020, and then we're closed for several months, reopened in June, closed again in December for a couple weeks, reopened in later December, and as of the current moment, in mid-January, we are still open. So COVID has affected us in a lot of ways. We, in the early March of 2020, had our final gala, or our gala from last year, and we have our big gala every year. It's our big fundraising event. We usually raise a few $1 million every year, which we did, of course, this year too. And that actually happened and finished days before we closed because of COVID. Our gala was on a Saturday. We closed the following Friday. Fortunately, we were able to get that big fundraiser completed despite that. That gala was designed to feed our capital funds, so not our operating monies, not our day-to-day operating monies, but rather our capital building funds. And later on, after that capital funding gala was actually focused on Australia themed, which is what we have behind me right here. This is our brand new Australian Adventures. I'm standing at the overlooking the habitat. You can see the rock wallabies on the rock wall off to the one side, and then the Bennett's wallabies kind of hunched together there in the middle. You can hear the budgies flying around possibly and squawking. It's an amazing thing. And this was a several $1 million event by itself that was funded by the previous year's gala event. And we were very excited to premiere this almost immediately after gala, about 2 weeks later, on the 25th, I think it was. We then were closed for a week and a half before that actual event happened. So we finished Australia in March, and then basically it sat unvisited, unappreciated, uninterpreted by our visitors for that whole 3 months until we reopened in June. It was a real bummer for us because we have this crown jewel that we still, to this date, have not had a major opening party for. People come in every day, as they are right now. Well, not at the moment, I guess. Everybody's in other parts of the zoo. It's a fairly busy day at the zoo. But not a lot of people in the Australia exhibit behind me. Oh, you can see the Bennett's right there, right behind me. Bennett's wallabies. So we have this great place. Nobody has had, we've not had the big unveiling of it, even though it's clearly been unveiled because people are coming in. I'm going to move to another part of the zoo and talk to you about another construction challenge that we faced that was tied into our gala in just a minute.
Well, Song, while James is taking us over to this next spot here, I should tell you, he's one of my favorite conference committee members ever, because on our first Zoom meeting, he had baseball helmet Sundays, ice cream helmet Sundays, and he had an El Paso Chihuahuas minor league baseball cap. So here's a person who has the helmet Sundays and the minor league baseball cap. I was like, this guy, we're gonna get along great.
Oh, I know. There was a bromance starting just like that. And he had everything in his office.
I know, it was right there. It was right there.
Yep.
What do you think? Do you think he's reached his other spot here?
Yeah, let's go back to him.
All right, so I've now walked across much of the zoo, and I am now at our new exhibit that is in the process of being constructed. This is called the Crossroads of Conservation Phase 2, and the working title for it right now is Rhino Savannah. So we'll finally be able to have rhinos on grounds in the near future, which we're very excited about. This is scheduled to be opened this coming fall of 2021. What COVID has provided to us that is sort of an opportunity, as opposed to the challenges that we faced with opening the Australian adventures on time and to the public in a way that we wanted to have it with a big launch. With Crossroads of Conservation, while we were closed for those 3 months, we were able to actually begin this project rather aggressively. So we had planned to begin at the time that we actually did, which was mid to late March of 2020. But with the success of the gala that we had in early March, we raised the remaining money that we needed to have to be able to do this project, to begin the project. There's still some outstanding money to be raised to be able to have the whole of this. It's a $20 million project. So this is a very large, the largest project that we have done here at the Living Desert in our 50-year history. And that's another thing. The 2020 was to be our 50th anniversary celebration. We were closed for a whole lot of it and were under siege by COVID for the rest of it, or most of the rest of it. So it's been a challenging 50th anniversary, but we are open now, we have been open, and we got started on this amazing project that will cover about a quarter of our total exhibit space with habitats for a great diversity of species, not just black rhinos, which are going to be the star of the show, but several other antelopes, a host of birds, many reptiles. It's really going to be quite a nice experience. So COVID, by having everything closed, made it much easier for us to begin this project. The tearing up of the old sidewalk, the sculpting of the grounds. There was a massive hill on the north end of our grounds that was comprised of dirt that was taken out of this area. That would have been much harder to do while we were open. We did do a lot of the excavation after we reopened in June, but not as inconveniencing of an event as it would have been had we been open for the whole time. So if we're looking for silver linings because of COVID, because of construction, we were able to do quite a bit of construction here much faster than we could have had we been open. So that's one small thing, but not that small actually, because you can see how large of a space it is, the construction that they've already gotten to. This was a whole host of other exhibits and pathways and habitats. Lots of things were here, and all of those things have been moved, relocated, restructured in different places. So that's been a real bonus. Plus, because we were closed for COVID, and especially in the beginning, people were very supportive of us. Our development office has working closely with all of us across the whole zoo, has been very motivated. And in the first 3 months that we were open, they were able to raise $1 million just for operating expenses. So that's unrestricted money, for those of you in the know. The money that was raised at the gala for the capital campaign to build this, to be able to make this massive project happen, was completely restricted money just for Rhino Savanna, or Crossroads Phase 2. So, because that money was restricted to this project, we were able to begin this pretty aggressively. But the fundraising that has happened after that was to try to get money to keep us alive, keep us afloat, keep us open, keep us solvent, so that we could keep our staff to the degree that we have been able to. Of course, COVID forced us to scale back quite a bit in terms of our staff size, which has been terribly traumatic for all of us. Nonetheless, we are open. We've begun this amazing project. We feel really proud of what we've been able to garner in terms of support from our community, fundraising, the support from our visitors. For much of the year, our visitation rate has kept pace with previous years, which is astonishing given all of the threats of COVID. We are a very large organization, a large area rather. We have 80 acres of grounds for people to wander about on, and it's very easy to socially distance here. We are very strict in terms of our masks. So COVID has certainly affected visitation, or at least shifted visitation quite a bit. But we are still quite well attended. Not that you could see it at Australia when I was there. But nonetheless, COVID has definitely affected us in a lot of challenging ways, but also some beneficial ways. And one thing that's not as capital focused, or not as construction focused, which I was asked to talk about with this video, is that ironically, COVID has brought us as a team closer together, especially our marketing, communications, and outreach efforts. These are being done much more collaboratively now. Everyone, representatives, lead representatives from each of our major departments involved in those communication and outreach efforts are getting together every Monday morning for an hour, and we schedule and strategize as to what we are going to do that week for reaching out to our supporters. We have over 50,000 membership families, membership households. And so as a consequence, that's a lot of people that we can reach every week, and we do. Every Monday we send out a Monday Minute. Once a month we send out our monthly update, and our visitors have been hugely appreciative and supportive, and we as a team have been able to grow much closer together and interpret and share our stories and make the requests for funding or for support or for coming out and visiting us or announcements about different events. COVID's been challenging, but not completely crippling. I hope the same is true for you and your organization wherever you are. Again, I'm Dr. James Danoff-Burg, Director of Conservation here at the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens. Hoping you have the best day ever. Take care.
Wow, well, thanks, Dr. James. That was an amazing run through of some of your new construction. I'm really excited to see the new entrance experience. Hopefully it's done by the time we get to Palm Springs for National Conference. Really looking forward to it. Paul, you are in your office. I just realized this is the end of the episode, and I just now realized I do not see your kitchen.
Well, so you can tell I'm in my office, not just because of the scene behind me, but the train going by in the background there. I don't know if you can hear my thrice daily Fort Collins train situation. But yes, I'm here in my office, and we actually, for NAI right now, we have in Larimer County, we're at threat level orange, which means that we can have 25% capacity in workplaces. And so for NAI, that means we can have 2 people in, lots more square feet than that. So on Wednesdays, I'm here with our new executive director, Millward. Today, I'm here with our membership manager, Jamie King. And so each day of the week, we have 2 different people, full-time staff in the office, except for, of course, you, Song, who are in Salt Lake City, and our esteemed certification and training program manager, Emily Jacobs, who is out in Washington.
Well, again, thank you so much to Gary. Really excited to see how your new interpretive programming starts to come to fruition out there in Biscayne. And Dr. James, thank you again for your amazing little tour of your new rhino enclosure and entrance experience. And actually with that, let's, if you guys want to stick around, we will show you the professional rendering for that new experience. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Bye, everyone.